You cannot say that I learned everything, I am a CEO, now I stop learning, it will not work. You have to continue to learn. The last one, leadership is an affair of heart. You agree? I always, people come and resign and they come with a problem. I said, you listen to your head and follow your heart. First, think logically what you want to do in your life, but at the end of the day, do what your heart says, because you cannot be happy if you always listen to your head, because at the end of the day, you will be happy if you follow your heart. As leadership is always follow your heart, but at the end of the day, you have to listen to your head, you have to think logically, analyze the data and everything, but at the end of the day, decision has to be taken from the heart, because that is going to be, there is where you put your passion, there is where you put your commitment behind what you do. Make sense? Yes. Yeah. Now, interest of time, I'll skip this. Key for success. I'll just build this slide. So, think this is a graph. This axis is value. This axis is value, that is 0 to 100. Think this axis is time frame. That means today you are 2012 and you have to move your career next to 40 years. Now Ram has another 30 years, isn't it? In professional career. Yeah. So you have another 40 years in your professional career. So what you need to do is, as you build your career, your challenge is how can I exponentially increase my value? You agree? So how will you define value? Not only to you and people around you. You have to exponentially increase the value for you and people around you. You have to increase the value. While you define value, is only number of cars you have, or number of houses, or bank balance? That's how you define value? That is of course one of the things. Definitely that's important. What else? How will you define value? Of course, the number of cars, houses is important. That's one definition. But the skills and competencies acquire is as value you adding to you. You agree? Then number of friends you accumulate over the period of time. How many friends I have? Then another value is how many people's life you impacted. I coached X number of people, I developed. That's why I always say teaching is a noble profession, although it's not get paid very high. Because you are very respected, because people come and wish you all the time because of the value you given to them. So value comes from that. Teachers don't earn much, but they create a value of greater relationship. People always think, I think all my professors who taught me great things. So that is the importance of value. Then the value, you create your community which you live in. All things are value. So your job is to increase the value as the time flies from, say here it's 0 or less to greater, like this. So think about, you are starting your career today, you are students, you said, isn't it, doing MBA. Then you are going to be professionals as individual contributors after few months or few years. Then after few years you are going to be managers. Then after few years you are going to be senior executives with the title GM, VP or whatever it may be. Then you are aspiring to become CEOs. But it is true that not all of us cannot be CEOs. We can aspire, but may not be. So once you become CEO, you are adding great value to you as well as people around you, the customers, the vendors, the shareholders and everything. In order to do that, what are things important is what we are going to summarize it. The first thing is important is what? You need to understand what is genetically given to you. That's what somebody asked, whether leaders are born or made. You need to really appreciate and thank what came through your ancestors and what you got genetically. Good appreciation is important. That's a solid foundation. Some of you can listen more than others. You agree? Some of you have photogenic memory than others. You agree? Some of you are more intelligent than others, although all of us claim we are equally intelligent or more intelligent. But reality is, some of you are more intelligent than others. And some of your emotional intelligence is better than others. Some of you feel like crying, you cry. Somebody, even if you want to make him cry, you never cry. So emotional intelligence vary. Somebody argue for everything. Somebody never argue. So these are genetic, isn't it? So for example, I'll give you one example. My daughter scored much better than my son. My son IQ is high. I tested in US, I know, he's a very smart guy, but he never scored. My daughter scored. The reason is she invests in her learning. She gets up in the morning 4 o'clock and study herself, put a lot of hard work. So understand what is genetically given to you and a good appreciation of your insight on IQ, EQ and your certain factors given to you, then compensate with the development. That's why I said never stop learning. So that is next stage of development. Continue to develop yourself when you become professionals, managers, senior executives and CEOs. That is the reason the yellow band runs across till you become CEOs and further in your life. That is not enough to add value. What is the next block? Career decisions. You make it is also important. Your decision to go to US, your decision to decide to join Citibank, your decision to leave Citibank at some point of time, your decision to join TAPME as a professor, your decision to stay in TAPME, all will decide the value you create to you and people around you. You agree? That's why great career choices are very important. Some of us make wrong choices in a career, it can backfire, but it can decide where you land at the end. Okay? So that is very, very important in terms of career choices. Okay, now once you become manager, exponential value, you can create it. Great, that box of green is very high, isn't it? Is through great people decision. Once you become manager, I said as leaders, you cannot do it alone. Go back into that statement. You should require a team. So in order to, so the great people decisions you take is very important. These great people decisions are what? What are the great people decisions? You hire the kind of people you hire in your team. If I want to be successful in my current job, I should have a great team to perform. So the great people decision I take are hiring decision I do to build my team. That's why in G kind of an organization, why Jack Welch is so successful? Can anybody tell me? He know how to hire smartest people. One interview he said, why you are, somebody interviewed him, an analyst interviewed him, Jack, you have 17 portfolios. At that time C.K. Prahalad and everybody was talking about core competency. He said, tell me what is your core competency? Are you in lighting or aircraft engine or G Capital? What is your core competency? Then he said, my core competency is people. I hire great people and delegate them. They go and build great businesses. That's his core competency. So when you become a senior leader, your ability to hire great people is very, very important. And he insisted that all his leaders spend a lot of time in people decisions of hiring as well as firing. When the person is not working, don't hesitate. Take a decision immediately. And he used to say, go and work in my competition because you're not fit to work for me because you damage my company. Better you go and damage my competition so that you should go and work in my competition. Thank you very much. So that's also a great decision. Once you find somebody is not doing good job because he didn't learn, he stopped learning, he become arrogant, he doesn't understand his genetic deficiencies, as not improving it, tell him thank you very much and go and work in my competition. Then promotion decisions. Whom to promote to leadership positions, senior leadership position. Whom to reward, how to reward. All these are people decisions you need to have it as. It's not an HR talk to promote HR job, but I'm telling as leaders, you need to make people decisions. It is going to give you extraordinary results. I'll take 2-3 minutes more. Yeah, it's very, very important. So these most powerful contribution to career. So if you ask me, a bridge to become a CEO, just follow this 5. This is done by Claudio Fernandez, who is a senior faculty member of Harvard and also a consultant, senior consultant or a partner in Egan Center. Wonderful person. I happened to hear to his speeches. He had done a lot of research on this. He said these are the 4 dimensions of building career. First, understand what is the constituency of yourself. What I am good at. Am I a good listener? Am I a good learner? The genetic part of it. And also understand what is the deficiency. Continue to develop. Do the right career choices. Then great people decisions you make as managers. Okay, 2 more things, I'll just summarize it. The company value, the importance of leader, how company create value. There are many factors the company create value year after year. One is year effect. For example, last 2 years, lot of company had a year effect, isn't it? The year was not good because of recession, because of economy was bad. So it destroyed company value. Or some company had a great year, it increased the company value. The total shareholders return increased dramatically because market share went up, profitability went up, revenue went up, return on capital employed went up, everything. Then next one is industry effect. Some industries are doing very well. You want to name some of the industries doing very well? IT is doing very well now? Come on, not doing very well. They used to grow 30% year after year. You have seen Infosys how much grown? Pharma companies doing well. FMCG doing well. They have 20% growth. All FMCGs are going 20% growth. So industry effect. Then next one is company effect. Industry grown, year was good, but my company messed it up. It can happen, isn't it? Not my company, but I am doing well. You are also recording, yeah. So that means some company messed it up. That is company effect. Then it can be leader effect. Leader effect is like out of leaders. So in this effect, which is the disastrous effect can have it on a company? Leader effect. I'll tell you one when we normally do brainstorming session. One example of all of us believe that industry effect is very high on creating value to the organization. So which industry you feel that it's very disaster, you never buy a share if you are given some money to buy share? Aviation? That's a group. Industry? Aviation. That's the answer normally we get it. But I'll tell you, can you tell me one company, had you purchased some shares 2-3 decades back, you should have retired now? Southwest Airlines. So will you say that industry, you'll never buy it? Southwest Airlines was the only company, not Apple, not Coke, not IBM. Had you purchased some shares, had you sold it today morning, you would have been the richest person in the world. So how can you say industry effect? When September 11th happened, that Twin Tower was blasted, that quarter also Southwest Airlines made profit. So it's not industry effect, it's all about leadership. The leaders of that company know how to run the company very well. So tomorrow's leaders, we discuss what is important. To summarize, if you are looking for potential in you and unearth that potential, the definition of potentials are coming from 4 dimensions. That is what we look at in industry. How will you define potential? Curiosity. So go back and ask, do you have curiosity in you to know what is happening around you? Not on curiosity on wrong topic. Curiosity on the right topic is very, very important. Do you have enough curiosity? Inquisitiveness, curiosity to know. High potential people have, if you ask me who is a high potential leader, one of the behavior high potential leaders have is curiosity. They are highly curious on the right topic. Yeah? Second one is they are insightful. High potential leaders are very insightful. You agree? And they are engagement in management processes, engagement with the business, engagement with the people, engagement with the customers, engagement with vendors is very high. Then their determination to achieve the goal, achieve the business results are very, very high. That's why they are called high potential leaders or leaders of tomorrow. To sum up, in order to be successful, there are 3 things required, each one of us for tomorrow's leadership. You need to continue to perform. There's no excuse. As a student, you need to perform. Once there, you cannot rest. You cannot say this quarter I'll take rest. But next, my son says, Dad, 1 week I'll take rest. And I cannot take rest. You need to constantly, it's like a treadmill, isn't it? If you take rest, you'll fall down. So you have like a bicycle. You have to keep on riding it. Bicycle is wrong example. Down you can take rest. Like a treadmill. You have to continuously perform. And career management is all about performing today, not planning tomorrow. You have to constantly perform today, best possible job. Then invest, not invest in shares. Invest in learning. Invest in networking. Invest in developing others. Then last one is adapt. All you plan, but environment can change drastically in 1 quarter and can change and topple all your plan. So you need to continuously adapt. So good luck. control your destiny, otherwise somebody else will control. Thank you very much for having me.
How did you adapt to Britannia culture from Computer Associates or from GE?
Yeah. Toyota, okay. I think that's a good question. How do you adapt to different cultures and different domain and different environment? I was talking in the previous class also. There are three things essential in leadership to perform. One is the domain knowledge. That's what I believe. I'll explain and clarify that. You should know the domain. Domain, when I say automobile is a domain, technology is a domain, then another domain you wanted to say, FMC is a domain, education is a domain, and all of us believe that you should be a domain expert to be a leader. Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Then second one is functional knowledge. I come from HR, I manage IT, or tomorrow they may tell me to manage something else. So functional, how can you do a function without knowledge of the function? Functional knowledge. I think these two are not important, less important. More important is the role behavior. The role behavior which I believe are around 7 to 8, which I passionately nurtured and keep on recommending to people, is result orientation, is one of the behavior you should have. Collaboration and influence, change orientation, customer orientation, team leadership, organization capability building, like 8 dimensions we have on role behavior. I think you focus on that. I was telling in my previous class, think of a guy who knows the FMCG domain very well and he knows IT very well, and another guy, but he's not a result oriented guy and he doesn't know how to manage change. Think of another guy, he doesn't know IT, he doesn't know FMCG, but he's an expert on result orientation, expert on change management. Who will be successful? Second guy. So my message to you as leaders, what I experienced is, domain knowledge you can learn anytime, new culture you can adapt anytime, and the functional knowledge you can gain anytime. More important in leadership is your ability to change, and you know how to manage change, your ability to collaborate, and your ability to influence people, even though they don't are not your age, even though they don't talk your language, even though they don't report to you, can you influence them? And the ability to have a team leadership approach. So the role behavior is very, very important, not the domain knowledge, not that I belong to that culture. Your ability to appreciate the different culture. Why people, leaders in Britannia behave in one way? Why when I was working in GE, leaders behave in different way? I cannot convert GE into Britannia, I cannot make Britannia into GE. Because both have innate capability, they are there. You cannot change over a period of time. It takes time to change. So I should understand how to do that and should have the patience to go through that. That's what I believe. Make sense? Yeah.
Sir, you talked about Jack Welch and the leaders like Dhirubhai Ambani, very charismatic leaders. From their time as leadership changed, has it become more of a collective effort, and to what extent, I mean, even if Jack Welch would come today in today's industry, would he take decisions unilaterally, and to what extent would he take advice from other people?
Yeah.
How would he go?
Very good question. Today you have seen, Google it, you'll get a lot of articles on team leadership or collective leadership. He said that leadership is not with one individual. He has to empower others and share the leadership with others. A lot of literature are available. Going back into Jack Welch, had he been today's leader, he would have done that. If you really look at Jack Welch's portfolio, he managed a very traditional portfolio. When Jack Welch built GE, he classified business 17 portfolios into 3 categories. Short cycle business, that means you manufacture today, tomorrow you can get the product into market and collect the money. You want to name one of that business GE had? Bulb, electric bulb. I manufacture today, it's a consumer, durable. I get into market, collect the cash tomorrow. Another is appliances business, consumer durable business, or short cycle business, I manufacture today, collect tomorrow. Next, long cycle business, he had close to $30 billion of revenue. Short cycle business, $12 billion of revenue. Long cycle business are, you don't get money today, you get 2 to 3 years. Aircraft engine, power generation, turbines and everything. You don't get it today. Then he had another business called a capital business. He created 40 billion capital business like G Capital, G Money and everything. So all required different business models. But what he did very beautifully is he used to transfer leaders from G money to aircraft engine to bulb. Leaders are moved across. And what he did, they seamlessly moved. And he made them to move, and the leadership competencies, the business models are different, but he created the agility of learnability, the language of money, the language of people, the language of technology, the language of globalization. He created so that as a leadership at top, it doesn't matter whether going back to this question, whether you manage bulb or you sell soap or you sell aircraft engine, the leadership was same. Had he continued today's, at that time he was the first leader who spoke about digitization. How to digitize business processes, ERP or SAP or Oracle. He spoke about important, he had 4 global initiatives to transform GE. Digitization was one, globalization was second, Six Sigma was third, and the fourth one is moving from product business to service business. That means product cannot keep a customer for a longer time. He said, I will give you service. If you are a medical, for example, Manipal business, he said, I will take care of entire infrastructure of your equipments. If some equipments go out of technology, I'll replace with a new generation. If outsource, lease it entire infrastructure to me. That service with strong products behind. This got is not decades back. So your ability to evolve. I agree, shared leadership is required, especially new generation required. No power concentrated on one individual. You want to delegate the power. And team leadership is very, very important. I cannot say that. That's what I tell in Britannia. Wherever I work, I tell my people, I am the head of HR because there's a reason Britannia chosen me. But I tell my direct reports that let us manage it together. I am delegating the power given to me and sharing that power with you. So you take decision on talent acquisition completely. You are empowered as a talent acquisition head. So I am sharing that power given by the board and my boss. Sharing. If I don't share that, the talent acquisition head will not stay with me. So how will I share my power and empower people? That is the earlier concept of delegation. For now the new terminology is shared leadership. But at the crux is same. Okay, thank you. I know we are running late.
I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Dr. Srikanth, for sharing his experience and leading us to think differently. It was enlightening to know about the concept of tipping point, and as future leaders, we will definitely try to incorporate the same. Thank you once again, sir.